Hey guys, what is up? If you've been a friend of the channel for any period of time, you probably know that I've been focusing on improving as a player. Really for the past couple of months or so, I've been trying to improve certain skills. Just doing anything long enough, over a long enough period of time, you'll get better at it, even if you're really not focused on improving. But eventually you hit a plateau, you get to a point where the improvements come very slowly, if at all, and they're difficult to see. And I got a little frustrated and I decided, I'm gonna really try to put my head down and focus on becoming a better player and trying to understand what that would mean, what I would have to do to actually get better as a player. So what I'm hoping to do today, and actually over the course of the next few days, is to create a series of videos covering a bit of an exploration of what it means to be good at this game and how to become good. And I think before you can really start to look at what it takes to become good, you have to understand and we have to agree on a sort of metric of what it means to be good at this game. And this is something I see get argued about in the comment section of my videos and other videos frequently. And for me, the definition of a good player is one who can win a lot of matches. It could be invasions, it could be duels, but ultimately winning is the metric that I would count. It's not about tech, it's not about spacing or anything like that. Obviously, all of those things can be inputs into making you a better player, but they're not the criteria by which I actually evaluate a player. So even if a player may not have mastered a lot of tech in the game, I don't think that ultimately matters, provided they're able to be successful. I think the tech is there to make you better, not in and of itself. And of course, you can use the tech in and of itself for whatever reason, but if I'm simply looking at what I consider to be a good player, that's what I'm thinking about. Can they win matches? And I think, too, it's important to think in terms of a continuum. I don't like to think of players as either good or trash, good players or bad players. I think there's a continuum. And then, of course, in some cases, it may make sense to call a player bad. But I find too often when you talk about good and bad players, it blurs the distinction of players in between. And of course, depending on who you're talking to, a good player could be absolute trash to somebody else. A few months ago, I made a Reddit post as I started my sort of journey to being a better player, and I started exploring some of the elements that made good players good, and actually got a lot of great feedback. And in fact, a Reddit user by the name of My Dear Madeir contributed a lot to the discussion and offered a lot of great insights into what makes a good player. And I'll leave a link to that Reddit discussion in the comments below. But incorporating some of those ideas along with mine, if I think about the kind of key criteria, obviously the basics, they understand spacing, they understand timing, the weapons, the matchups, the hyper armor, etc. But that's kind of a given in this situation. I think most players who play for any period of time, they kind of understand those things. This is what it takes to be next level. They're curious, and this is something I see all the time. I see players that are really good. They're curious about the game. They try different things out. They're not afraid to experiment. They're not afraid to take a loss in an effort to better understand the mechanics of the game, to see how something works. They're good at reads. They are really good at picking up on other players, their tendencies. They know what they're going to do. They're good at reading feints versus actual attacks. I know I've been really frustrated in the past playing against players who are good at reads. If they're playing with an ultra, maybe I'm playing with a straight sword, I feint, they don't bite, but as soon as I actually go in for the attack, they read the attack and end up trading with me. So that is definitely something good players do. They have an ability to adapt. So if they're doing something, they're in a fight, their approach isn't working, they quickly pivot and they do something else. They don't keep trying the same approach over and over if it's not working. And pattern recognition, which I think goes with reads. They're able to pick up on enemy patterns very quickly and to start to exploit those. And then if I think about maybe some areas specifically where I need to improve, of course, in all of those areas I just mentioned, but my aggression levels, I'm not aggressive enough in fights. This is something I've known for a while. I've been working at it, but I'm still not good enough here. And then there's also something I like to call deferred decision-making. I think all of us, if you've been in maybe an invasion against an inexperienced player, they come at you from halfway across the map, and you know they're going to do a running attack. They know they're going to do a running attack. They've committed in their minds to doing a running attack 10 seconds earlier. I like to try to commit to actions as late as possible, and I've been working on this and getting a lot better. If you're in a situation where you run in at a player and they swing, if you're already committed to the attack, you're probably going to trade. I try to wait till the last possible moment so that if they do attack, I can roll, but if not, I'm free to attack. And there's obviously going to be some gap in time between the time that you commit to doing something and the actual action, and I try to just make that as small as possible, and I've found that that's actually helped. That's helped me a whole lot. The upcoming videos, I'm going to go into some more detail about some of these ideas, how I've seen other players use these types of ideas, how I'm trying to use them, and I think it's going to be fun and interesting, so I hope you stay tuned.